We tracked close to 1,000 games released on the Series X this year. Out of all of these, here are the highest rated based on critic and gamer reviews, presenting the best Xbox Series XS games of 2023. First on our list is Planet of Lana. This was a day one release for Xbox Game Pass subscribers. You play as Lana on a quest to save her tribe from invading robots. Tricky puzzles litter your way. Thankfully, your alien pet Mui is ready to lend a helping hand. Planet of Lana is by no means unique. It borrows familiar mechanics from other platformers. Jumping, solving puzzles, and tag teaming with a partner are all here. Where it excels is in visuals and its effective telling of an emotional story. A play score of 8.6. Like a Dragon, Ishin is very much like another Yakuza game, except it doesn't take place in modern Japan. Set during the Edo period, Sakamoto Ryoma took the spotlight, wielding a sword and gun. Combat remains fresh yet familiar considering that it's a remake of a 2014 classic. Switching between three fighting styles turns Ryoma into a one-man army. Fans of the series will recognize familiar faces, but new players might take more time finding out who's who. It's a solid entry to RGG's long list of Yakuza titles, but it's hard to recommend this to others outside its niche following. It has a play score of 8.6. This was a great year for fighting games, and Capcom's Street Fighter VI put the genre back to the forefront of gaming. It was a huge leap to next-gen territory with better visuals, online matchmaking, and player accessibility. Now there's little to no issues when dealing with other players. There's also a handful of new faces, as well as the return of some familiar characters. This new roster of heroes adds a healthy balance to its ever-changing meta. Sadly, the game suffers from backlash after release with its pricey microtransactions. A lot of players were not happy with its expensive costumes. Yikes. It receives a play score of 8.7. The Sea of Stars glitters with its success. Sabotage Studios' latest work is a love letter to all the great things about the RPG genre. What Sea of Stars did isn't exactly a revolutionary twist on the formula. In fact, it embraces the nostalgia of 16-bit classics like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy. By the time it came out on day one for Xbox Game Pass users, a lot of players were captivated by its gorgeous retro art style and enchanting music. Even with all its familiar tropes, Sea of Stars managed to spice things up with a dynamic turn-based combat and quality of life improvements. It gets a play score of 9 out of 10. For a game that sold over 15 million copies, there's no denying Hogwarts Legacy was a resounding success for the Wizarding World fans. Unfortunately, it was met with a ton of controversies that dampened the game's hype. What Hogwarts Legacy did right, however, was expanding on this fantastical world of magic and monsters. If you were a fan of the books or films, exploring Hogwarts felt like being back on the same world that mesmerized us years ago. Soaring through the skies using a broomstick, attending potion classes, or casting unforgivable curses to your enemies was an immersive role-playing experience only Hogwarts Legacy can deliver. It has a play score of 9 out of 10.
Here we go!
Playing Hi-Fi Rush felt like putting ourselves into a live-action rock and roll album. It was 2023's surprise hit, one that nobody thought would pull them right into its vibrant world. The stylistic choice of combining audio and action was the game's strongest mechanic. Timing in-game music to its combat felt refreshing compared to most action games in the market. It's like Devil May Cry meets Cryptid the Necrodancer. It felt like an old PlayStation 2 game where all you have to do is have fun and breeze through its simple story. It didn't have to revolutionize the action-adventure genre, it just had to make a lasting appeal to the modern players. It receives a play score of 9.1. The best indie game for Series XS this year. COCOON is a trippy puzzle adventure taking us on a wild ride across its pocket universes. There's a certain beauty as you navigate the different alien landscapes. Warping from one world to another is a wonder in and of itself. It has an inventive way of teaching puzzle mechanics without overwhelming the players. Once you get a hang of its systems, the whole universe will be at the palm of your hands. GameSpot gave it a score of 9, calling COCOON a beautiful game filled with brilliance and meaning, delivered in a subtle yet unforgettable way. It gets a play score of 9.1.
I need to escape this nightmare.
Remedy Entertainment's mastery of storytelling culminates in this next chapter of their favorite troubled writer. Alan Wake 2 is a shining example of a fantastic sequel. It evolved Alan's journey across the dark place with a genre shift to survival horror. This opened new doors to its surreal mixed-media narrative, adding more dread to players and to Alan's mind. The addition of a new protagonist adds new layers to its story. Whereas Alan battles the nightmares of his past, Saga ventures into uncharted territory with a sinister Lynchian twist. Both of their stories work well together, creating a spiral of horror and mystery into the quaint Pacific Northwest. Alan Wake 2 has a play score of 9.2. 2023 is also a great year for survival horror fans. This remake of Dead Space amps up the terror to 100. EA Motive knows that sound and atmosphere make the scares even more effective. Returning to the derelict spaceship of the USG Ishimura was something we didn't want to do again. It's just that this remake is too good for us not to pass up on its reimagined frights. It improves on visuals, sound, and even expands on the story. The necromorphs are still the threat, but Isaac Clarke and his crew provide fresh lore longtime fans will enjoy. It has a play score of 9.3. Before we reveal the number one, Starfield didn't make it on this list. User reviews brought its score down. The expectation was just too high. The game ended up promising too much and under-delivering.
Like I told you, I'm gonna get you home safe.
And the best Series XS game of 2023 is Resident Evil 4. Leon and Ashley take both crowns as the best Xbox Series XS game this year. This is another successful remake from Capcom, and there's bound to be more coming in the future. This is a fantastic remake that improved from its original. Like the Dead Space remake, Resident Evil 4 provided no major changes to the story. What it did is expand on it to flesh out characters and their motivations. It's still a survival horror game at heart. There's enough palpable tension, and with Leon's improved combat, you'll be kicking and somersaulting them with ease. It's the best on Xbox with a play score of 9.3.